بسم الله ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As you know, my name is Umar Isa Dandago. I'm a journalist, a teacher, a public speaking coach, translator, and so on and so forth. I'm also a freelance journalist based in Kano State, northern Nigeria. I have a YouTube channel, as you know, Global Arena TV, on which I mostly cover the biggest international issues. For the past few weeks, I've been covering the American politics from different angles with different experts from different parts of the country and parts of the world. Both on my radio talk show on Hikma Radio 93.7 FM Kano and on my YouTube channel, Global Arena TV. Well, today I am super excited. Let me use one of the phrases or some of the phrases that I used earlier. I will tell you this funny story. Today I am delighted, I am elated, and rapturously enraptured. So what happened was that earlier today in the afternoon, today is what? Wednesday, the 21st of August, 2024, I was invited by a guy called, if I could use this, I'm sorry, sir, called Malam Aisar Fage. He's a lecturer, a very good one and a very educated one, lecturer at the Department of Mass Communication, Kano State Polytechnic. And he is also doing his PhD. I know that. He has been my mentor for an extended period of time. And he invited me, among other people, to deliver speeches to his mass communication students at Kano State Polytechnic. Well, I have a lot to say about those students and what happened, the topics we covered, the discussions, the interactions we have had so far with them. But what happened was that when I was introduced, a very generous introduction, thank you very much, Mala Isar. When I was introduced and I stood behind the lectern or the podium to speak, I used the words, I am delighted, I am elated, and rapturously enraptured. So as I was saying those, I believe, captivating, attention gripping, attention grabbing expressions, I saw a beautiful girl smiling at me, sort of, she was in awe of what I was saying. Like, oh my God, oh, I like this kind of English. Oh, by the way, not me. I believe a lot of people. I've had a lot of fans here. I'm not praising myself. I'm not like, eulogizing myself. But what happened, joke aside, what Malam Aisar did or has done, I believe is something that is obtainable mostly in the developed countries. And rarely, so I'm not saying it is absence, it is absent, rarely in our environment. And what happened was that, okay, as a lecturer, when you spend weeks teaching your students the theories and the practical aspect, depending on the course you teach, you also need to invite someone with the practical experience of what you have been teaching them, what you are teaching them, to speak from his or her own side about his or her own experience and experiences with the job. For example, as we are journalists, Malam Aisar decided to invite some people, well, most of whom were his students and mentees, still are, of course, including me, to talk to his students, his current students at college, about what it is to be a journalist, what we do as journalists, and to also ask, and answer questions, like sort of have a Q&A session together. I really appreciate what Malam Aisar did. And like I said, this is something mostly obtainable in the West. Oh, Malam Aisar did not study in the West. Of course, he had his master's degree, I believe, in one of the countries I'm very much dreaming to visit, Malaysia. So you see, even in Asia, this is very much obtainable. I can remember when I was, there's this British journalist, Nazanin Moshiri. She's a sister to one of the senior presenters at the BBC World News, Mariam Mashiri. Mariam Mashiri connected me to Nazneen after I had interviewed the sister Mariam in 2021, January 2021. Of course, after the 2000, after January the 6th, insurrection of the Capitol Hill in the United States of America. I remember we had that interview on one Friday with Mariam Mashiri, and she connected me to her sister Nazanin Mashiri. As I was doing a little bit of research about Nazanin Mashiri, I got to discover that she was invited to our university to speak to the students of journalism there, and she spoke passionately about the job. She also remembers in the video how she was in school and what it means for her to return to university and speak to the students. So from that moment, I began to realize that this is very, very important. Of course, some of our lecturers at university do invite people to come and deliver a speech. I can remember when I was in level 2 or 3, I think in level 3. No, level 2, level 3, I cannot exactly remember. Dr. Muhammad Jamil Yusha was invited to deliver a speech to the students, to the then outgoing students. They were in level 4, but alhamdulillah, I had the privilege of entering and watching and listening to his incredible speech. Muhammad Jamil Yusha is one of the very, very influential people. I'm deeply what's the adjective? I'm deeply in awe of. I don't know. I deeply respect. I deeply admire. I revere him a lot because of his education and his own character and so on and so forth. Deeply learned man. So I discovered that, okay, this is something very important that we should be doing. And in my capacity as an English teacher, I have been inviting guests to speak to my English students. My students can attest to that. And my colleagues and my boss, Mala Anas Amina Kampa, who I have had the pleasure of serving, working for since 2018, I've been bringing a lot of different people, some not even Nigerians, to be honest with you, to the school in order to speak to the students. I've invited I invited a Nigerian American. I invited an American, like a white American, if I could put it this way. I'm not being racial or something like that, like an American. That one, Nigerian American, is also American. Yeah, sure. I invited an Indian. I invited a Nigerian who was grown up in London. I invited, alhamdulillah, as many. And I will not forget Barrister Rabia Hadija, who has been sort of like, we invited her. She went, she delivered a speech, and then she returned. She came back. She even said that if she was in Kano, she would be taking some voluntary classes at Kamfa English classes. So I have got to understand that the impact that such talks have are absolutely hugely profound, and they are beyond measure and quantification. So to cut a long story short, we did what we did. We spoke to the students, alhamdulillah. They asked me questions, and some of them are funny, about investigative journalism. And I was saying, oh, I got to speak to one of my mentors, Professor Jeff Kelly Lowenstein. Definitely, because like he knows too much about investigative journalism, because he too is an investigative journalist. He's the executive director of CCIJ, Center for Collaborative Investigative Journalism. And I believe if he were there, he would answer all of the questions, but I believe Mala Isar is going to do something to invite someone to speak to them about investigative journalism. Then what? They were very happy to see me. I showed them some of my videos. And funny enough, we spoke about the pronunciation of my name, Umar Isa Dandago. But a lot of people say Dandago, especially non-Nigerians. It's only one American that has got 50% of the name, but I am happy with that. You call me Umar Isa Dandago or Umar Isa Dandago, depending on your accent and intonation and pronunciation. I don't care. But then I was seriously warned to stop, to desist from saying Dandago, because this is not how the word is in Hausa language. So that's absolutely wonderful. So what we should learn from this talk is that I can remember back when we were in our final semester at university, I delivered a talk to the students of Grand Valley State University in the US state of Michigan virtually. Professor Jeff Kelly Lowenstein called me on WhatsApp. Unfortunately, we don't have the record because we could not record on WhatsApp. He called me on WhatsApp video call. I put on my babariga and my cap, and all those American students, Gen Zs, most of them, if not all of them, were very much happy listening to me. And later on, that happened before Ramadan, but in Ramadan, I received an email from him with notes from the students, or some of the students narrating what they had learned from my talk to them. And Alhamdulillah, it was great. I was happy to do that. I felt happy that I said something which meant something to someone. And Alhamdulillah, it's quite interesting. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank my great friend Uzair Adam Imam for all his support, and like all his support like he has been rendering, giving to me since university and up to now, Alhamdulillah. And well, he's just awesome. One of the best friends I've got in the world, and definitely one of the best people I interacted with at BUK. So I think I have to stop here. I hope I have said something that is significant. I hope I've said something that is important, and I hope to come back again and talk about another thing. I'll be doing these videos, inshallah, from time to time. And one thing is that if you are watching this and you have students that you want me to come and speak to, either physically or virtually, I'll be delighted to do that, inshallah. I am here. I will make time to do that. If the students are not here, we can do virtual, Zoom, whatever. And we can also, if they are here, I can walk there and speak to them face to face. That's also very much significant, inshallah. All right, all the best. My name is Umar Isa Dandago. And one thing, before I go, one thing. After the talk show, after the speech to the students, I came to Hikma Radio. The studio is just behind me. There are two studios before you reach the studio, the live studio thing, whatever, the studio that we broadcast live. I had a live interview. I had a live interview with Dr. Kabir Said Supi, and we talked about Kamal Harris and the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, and a lot of stuff. I called via WhatsApp Dr. Yvonne Ridley from Scotland, British journalist, the author of In the Hands of the Taliban, and she spoke very much passionately about the Kamala Harris's candidacy and the challenges around that. So this is absolutely one of the best days, alhamdulillah, that I have had, because like almost all the things that I had planned to do, alhamdulillah, I've done all of them, and I have done a couple of one report there, and it was going to air in our late evening news later today. So my name is Umar Isa Dandago, the founder of Global Arena TV, a journalist here at Hikma Radio FM Kano, and an English teacher also. So we will see you again. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Goodbye. Aapse fir milenge. Khuda Hafiz. Oh, Allah Hafiz. I like Hindi. Bye bye. Yes.